I came up here and didn't fall. Yay! I'll tell you about my name first. I have a twin sister named Zorraine, and my mother had told, it was my mother's niece, and she had told her that if this baby is a girl, we'll name it Zorraine. And so the baby was born, it was a girl. And then I was born first, and then she came along, but she was tiny. She's really tiny. In fact, that's her name, is Tiny. Her name is Zorraine. So they went through the alphabet, and they started to try to find a name, because my mama believed that names should rhyme when they were for twins. And so they went all through, and they got to the Z, and they decided on Zorraine. Being so happy that my name is not Joe Rain or Mo Rain, I never said a word about it. I also never knew that that was my name until I went to school. And the nun was calling Zorraine, Zorraine, and I said, that stupid person doesn't even know that. And it turned out to be me. I can't believe I'm telling you all that. Pretty soon I'll be confessing. You know, like you go to the hospital and say, is this the admitting room? I want to admit something. I'm very pleased to be here today, and I thank the leadership committee for inviting me. I'm retired now. I'm not active on the bench, but I thought I was made for retirement. But as I found out, I was not. So I was walking around my house one day, and I heard something that sounded like sleep coming, falling on the floor. And I didn't know what it was, but you know, I just kept looking, and finally I put my hand on my ear and looked, and it was my dead brain cells falling out of my ears. And so I decided it was time to do something. And truthfully, I was getting really goofy. One time in court, I had this old man come in, and he shuffled in, and he forgot why he came, but I had read my cases ahead of time, so I knew why he was there. And so I said, didn't you come to do this? And he said, yes, ma'am. And I walked him through it, and then as he left, he was shuffling out, and I said to the lawyer standing around, y'all, if I ever get like that, I want you to tell me. And one of them said, but Judge, how are we going to know? Well, I don't know. And I was talking to some of the people that are running today. To me, when I ran for judge, it was the best thing. I was so happy I got to stand up. I come from a generation where women especially did not talk about themselves. You didn't ring your own bell, you didn't blow your own whistle. You had to be nice and sweet. I never made the sweet part, but I tried to be nice. But at any rate, you run for something. You get to stand up, say nice things about yourself, and everybody claps. What's not to like? And then sometimes they give you a pie. So, I mean, if somebody gives me a pie, I'm happy. When I was talking to these two people, I was telling them if it was true, because for me it was true, the campaign takes on a life of its own. If you have one bit of competitive spirit, you're in this to win, and you're going to win. If somebody tells you, my district includes Livingston, St. Helena, and Tangipahoa parishes. If somebody from Hammond called and said, oh, Mr. Joe is upset because you talked to everybody and didn't talk to him, get in my car, drive back to Hammond, find Mr. Joe and talk to him, because you want to do everything you can. You're in it to win. And then I won. And then I'm like, what have I done? I have to do two things I hate to do most of my life. Sit still and listen to other people talk. Also, I was telling the persons that are running today, the candidates, a joke. And they laughed their head off, so I thought I'd tell you. These two Louisiana boys went up to the East Coast. And so they met these women at a party. And they said, where do you go to school? And the woman said, Yale. They said, where do you go to school? I wrote all this down. This is just words that tell me what I was going to say. Since I haven't looked at it since, I want to tell you, my assignment is to tell you my journey to judgeship. And so I decided when I was in the 5th or 6th grade that I wanted to be a lawyer. And and I never left that dream. I wanted to be a lawyer. But you know, life gives you life gives you detours is what I meant to say. And with those detours comes responsibility. And as a responsible person, you are obligated to take care of those situations. So I went to college where I met the love of my life, Zoey Waguespack. And he and I were sweethearts all through college. We had planned to get married after college, and I had planned that I would be going to law school. Well, the Cuban crisis and Berlin crisis came up. He was in the Navy Reserve, and he was called up to active duty. So he calls me and says, we got to get married now, because I don't know if I'm ever coming home. So it was a scary time. And I don't mean to make light of it, but we decided we were going to get married. We got married, and then I moved to Norfolk, Virginia. Well, no law schools. And he was on the ship, on USS Randolph. So didn't go to law school that time. So then, when he came home, he finally came home, we moved back to New Orleans so he could go to Loyola for pharmacy school. So, no law school, somebody has to work, put the food on the table. But, so I was a secretary at Tulane, the worst secretary in the world. And they said, why can't you type? We got your transcript, you made an A in typing. I said, yeah, they sold salt and pepper shakers. And so I sold the most, and so I got an A. But I still can't type, but it's been a blessing. And not a hindrance, because if you know how to type, that's what you do. You don't ever get any out of that, so it didn't hurt down, I don't think. After I got out of law school, I worked for the First Circuit for 1 year. Well, actually, it was a little over 1 year, but it doesn't matter. And then I went to work with the private practice. I love private practice. It's so much fun, and you can help people, and that's the best part of it. Before I was, after I wasn't a secretary anymore, which was the shortest career in the history of Tulane. But I had taken some tests ahead of time, some state tests, and they called me. They were in desperate need of social workers. They said, you can go to Baton Rouge and you can do a 6-week course and you can be a social worker. Well, I want to do anything to get out of typing. So I went, and so I became a social worker at the welfare office in New Orleans. And it was such a good job too. And we didn't have just one. You weren't a specialist. You had everybody. You had the whole family, the people that were on what they called the old age pension, the people that had children, the children themselves. I mean, you did everything. But when we went to court to determine I had to stay outside because I wasn't a lawyer. So then I remembered I wanted to be a lawyer. And so I got my goal. But now, after I went to several other jobs, and then it was time for me to go to law school because my youngest child could drive a car. And I was once elected Mother of the Year, and they said, what do you have to do to be a Mother of the Year? I said, you have to know how to drive a car and tell time. That's it. Okay, so now I am 45 years old. It's taken me from the age of 22 when I graduated, I don't know how many of those years are, but like 23 years to get to law school. So I go to law school and I am free, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. I go to every party that they have. My son was working at McDonald's and we had a party that said, come in the uniform that you will wear if you don't finish law school. So I took his sprinkle a little bit of grease. And that's what I did. But that was fun too. But nothing was more fun than the campaign, except the second campaign was not fun because somebody wants to take your job. I went to the Pentecostal church in Little River Pentecostal church in Tickfaw, and they had a visiting minister, and the minister came out and he was dancing around and so excited. He said, I'm getting the message. I'm getting a message. I'm getting a message from Jesus. And it's for somebody in this room. Immediately I knew it was for me. I started getting lower and lower in my seat. By the time it came to me, you could see about like this. And so he said, Jesus says that what Jesus wants you to have, ain't nobody going to take it away. And so I'm saying, okay, I'm not worried about it. You know, this is great. So then I didn't have to worry because I did win the election. I also want to tell you about my law partner, Carolyn Ott, who started all this for me, coming to be a judge. She would be the best judge in the world. She's so smart. She's so talented. And I was begging her. We went to her seminar in Boston, and I'm just pleading with her, please, please run for judge. So finally I pull out my big hammer. I'm going to tell her this. She's going to say, oh, please, no, not that. I'll run for judge. But she didn't. I said, Carolyn, if you don't run for judge, I will have to run. And she said, instead I said, oh no, she said, what a wonderful idea. And I'm like, are you drunk? But anyway, then I called my friend Maurice Durbin, who is a politician through his roots. She made a living being working with politicians. And so I said, Carolyn said it would be a wonderful, she said, I think it's a wonderful idea. I said, will you help me? She said, yes, I'll help you if you do everything that I tell you to do and don't ask any questions. It was hard, but I did, because she knew politics a lot better than I did. I didn't, know much about it at all. But then it was good. Now I'm working again. I went to work as an ad hoc judge, which is a fancy name for a substitute judge. When somebody has to go somewhere and do something, then I go. I've been working a lot, mostly in the 19th Judicial District, which is East Baton Rouge Parish, and a lot in their parish juvenile court, is the East Baton Rouge Parish Juvenile Court, which I love the juveniles. But I am very surprised and sad about the ages of the people that come into juvenile court. You have 5-year-olds that have committed felony crimes. It's just really, really sad. But those people that work there don't make very much money, but they have the biggest hearts I've ever seen. Do you have your stop sign up yet? Darn. My husband, we grew up together. We met in college, like I told you. We got married. We learned, after we were married for 54 years, and we went out in college for 40 years. So we grew up together. But he died, and when he died, it was the lowest part of my life. I'm thinking, why didn't I go with it? And then I realized there's something that I need to do. And I pray and hurry up so I can go to it. But I'm out of that now. I know that there's a purpose and I have to do it. But I went around telling people that's the worst thing that ever happened to me. And then I thought, it wasn't so good for him either. So I don't see that anymore. When I graduated from high school, in Baton Rouge High School, I got an honor scholarship to go to college. I was so happy I got an honor scholarship. Me. Yay. Anyway, when I got to school, it was for $40. But it paid for all my books. It paid for part of my boarding. And $40 was a lot different than it is now. Yeah. So let me see if there's anything else I want to tell you. Then I can give the rest of my time to the next person. Hot pops. I really do like speaking. I mean, what's not to like about this too? You get up and you get to talk, and nobody else talks. They're quiet unless they throw fruit or something. And then I always carry around a bag. Did you understand what I said about the campaign? And 30 seconds. Got time for another joke?
Yes,
They had these two preachers that had churches across the street from each other. And so the highway department called them and said, we want you to put up a sign about this traffic problem that we're having. And so what they decided, they talked over their mailboxes were on the same side of the street. And so they decided to put up, the end is near. And so they put the sign up, and one day they're by the mailbox talking, and this sports car comes driving down the road. And it's got this guy, and he's got sunglasses on, chains around his neck, and he's going fast. And so all of a sudden they hear screeching the brakes, a big loud noise, a big plump, somebody's falling in the water, and they say, perhaps we should have said bridge out. Thank you.